going to show you how to navigate Adobe Illustrator and do simple basic operations in it. So let's first start by creating a file. Go to new, go to print, go to F4. We're going to call this file basics. Then I will stick in millimeters, and let me pick landscape, and I'll just create. So you know that the landscape goes sideways. So the first things you want to make sure are things like the orientation of your page. This is very important because some settings will allow you to have a lot of icons here, some will allow you to have minimal accurate icons here. So the first setting you want to make sure that you are having is when you are at Adobe Illustrator, go to Window and just make sure that your workspace is at Essentials Classic, and you're going to know why we look at that. So when you look at your left, you have these two columns with icons. If I get out of Essentials Classic, which I was already at, and maybe I go at Essentials, you will note that my page is now limited. So you don't want to be limited. You want to have as many tools as possible, which you can quickly access. So make sure you go to Windows, check your workspace, and make sure the Essentials Classic is checked. If it's not checked, check it, and you will have a lot of things to work on. The next thing to check is just to make sure that again at Window, make sure that at the toolbars you are at the advanced toolbar. So this is also the same thing. If you are at advanced toolbar, you also have a lot of options which you can access as fast as possible. You don't want to take a lot of time, so make sure the advanced toolbar is checked. So right now I have unchecked it. Let me go to toolbars. It's unchecked, and you know that I'm limited. So if I click advanced, now it brings back everything. Now the next thing I want to show you is artboards. You will note that my computer has automatically brought me artboards here. So we have layers, we have assets, we have artboards, and they all come from this small part here. So the artboard is this white part where the page that allows me to write anything. If I want to increase the number of artboards, I can always come. When I click outside, when I just click here, it will automatically bring me here. I can maybe, if I want to change the size of maybe this artboard, I can even click edit, and it can allow me to drag the artboard somewhere, make it bigger, make it like that. I am at artboard, and you will see we have some measurements there. So if I want to get rid of this thing for editing, I just hit the escape button on my keyboard, and it will take me back to my default. So if I want to change the units, the same thing, it's here. Remember I picked millimeters, but you picking millimeters there, it doesn't mean that that's over. So you can always click there and change to whatever unit you want or you're comfortable in using. It can be centimeters, it can be inches, but I normally like millimeters because it's very small divisions, and it leads to accuracy. So in case you want to increase the number of pages or maybe documents you're working at the same time, which you call artboards, you can always come here, there is a plus, and click new artboard. So you know that you have two artboards. If I scroll here, you can see those are two artboards. So another thing is zooming. So maybe you want to zoom in and zoom out. There's this thing here, which is written zoom if you hover your mouse. So if I click on it, if I go to the right, I'm zooming out. If I go to the left, I'm making it smaller, Left, it makes it smaller. Right, makes it bigger. If I go here, you see it makes it bigger on where your mouse pointer is at. So if you want to see your whole things, it doesn't mean you change the size of whatever you're designing, but you've just allowed your scope to be better. When you're designing, you can even zoom in so that you can see that thing well, and it just allows you to have a better experience while editing whatever you're editing. So if you want this plus zoom or zoom thing to get out, you just click on it again, or you click either of this. You can click this. They're called selection tool. This selection tool, and this is the direct selection tool. They will always make sure that you have gotten out of that. So that was all about navigation. So I've shown you how to zoom in, how to zoom out, how to get to the next selection tool. This is a selection tool. Selection tool just allows you to move around. Like for example, if I click on this object, I click on the square and I just put the square in, if I click on this selection tool, I pick it, it just allows me to drag my thing around. I can even drag it there. That's how the selection tool works. So always pick this big one if you want to do a big movement. You even want to select the whole thing like that, always use this selection tool. But if you want to do minor changes, like you want to pull this one in or something, always pick this other selection tool. It does very specific changes. Maybe I want to drag only this part. Yeah, I can always use that selection tool to do such maneuvers. So I've shown you where to get the selection tools. This is the direct selection tool, this is the selection tool. There are a few things. If you want to get more shapes, you just right click, you get more shapes. If you want to get the pen tool, it's also important, we'll come there later. You right click, you can see everything under the pen tool. And that's all about navigation. Thank you.